What's up, everyone, and welcome to the Fast Life Podcast. I hope you guys had a great weekend, man. I know I did. I literally just got home from riding up to Oklahoma. Moyers, Oklahoma is where we rode out to this weekend and camped at the K River Campground. It's where we got to record this podcast that you're listening to now with Adam Sandoval. But it's also going to be the place where we're going to host our camp out that you may have saw on our Instagram, one of our pictures that we put it up. But we wanted to ride up here and check out this campsite and obviously get Adam on the podcast and just kind of see how we can, bring something to the table for you guys to do. Something that's not going to really cost you anything. It's just going to cost you your time and a lot of fun is what I'm thinking it'll cost. But at any rate, we wanted to check out the campsite, take some pictures, maybe some video. I don't know if I got any. I think we were drinking way too much the entire time to actually do anything of any kind of constructive progress of trying to create some kind of content to show you what this place is all about. But anyway, the place is dope. It's Adam's spot. He purchased this place and he's turning it into a pretty rad, campsite, camp out place for motorcycles. And I mean RVs and cars too, not just limited, but more motorcycle friendly than any other campsites in America that I've been to so far. Not saying that, you know what I'm getting at, right? It's great. It's really good. But anyway, don't want to ramble on too much. We talked about a lot of things in this podcast that, obviously you haven't heard me talking in a week or so. So I've changed my mind like 14 times and changed direction 100 times. So you're going to hear that. And it could change by the next podcast, but we'll see how that goes. As always, man, these podcasts are brought to you by some great people. And one of those great people is Mark from Texas Performance MC down in Cedar Park, Texas. So obviously, since day one of this podcast, if you're not following Mark on Instagram, which you will be able to do that at Texas Performance MC, man, just go down there and support these dudes. Support Mark, support what he's doing. He's a small business and he's a really hard worker. He's a great friend of mine. He's just doing badass shit, and he's an amazing mechanic. He does such good work. Never had any problems. And I don't think I'd tell you if I did. No, I'm just kidding. I definitely would. But no, Mark is my dude. He is doing great work down there. I expect him to be at this camp out with us because, obviously he's one of my closest friends. So anyway, check out Mark, Texas Performance MC, online and on IG. If you're down in the Cedar Park area, go check him out. Full service dyno tuning. He's a performance guru. He knows all the cool nerdy shit when it comes to that stuff. I just like to turn the throttle back and paint pretty pictures on the sides of the tank. So, but anyway, check him out. Texas Performance MC. I also want to thank Paint Huffer Metal Flake, painthuffer.com if you need to get some flake for your bikes or your cars or your helmets or just because you want to say you got it, I guess. Paint Huffer Metal Flake on IG. You can check out a lot of rad-ass talented painters out there that are using their products and showing you the wide, array of ways you can use something as simple as a flake to make it just an amazing work of art. So check out painthuffer.com. Get you some flakes, some pearls. I know they sell FBS tapes and a lot of other custom paint things that we guys need when we're going to, put some sauce on it. You know what I mean? So check out painthuffer.com, painthuffer metal flake on IG. Thank you guys always for supporting us, and go support them because they're doing it for us and you should be doing it for them, right? Also want to thank Horsepower Inc. for staying on board with us, and I'm enjoying watching them grow and their business and how they're doing it. And obviously they've been doing this shit a lot longer than I've been doing my shit, but it's just cool, man. It's cool to know these guys. I'm glad that I got a chance to meet them, Jimmy and all their operation up there, and that fucking badass Softail they built for the 115th. It's the more I look at it, the more I kind of want one, to be completely honest with you. But at any rate, check out horsepowerinc.net. Horsepower Inc. on Instagram, and Horsepower Inc. Indy on Facebook. They make a lot of high horsepower products such as throttle bodies, injectors, all that type of stuff. What was the air cleaners also, and then I think that they're in the works of some exhaust stuff. But if you're up in the Indian area, you can always go through. They got one of the best tuners up there on the dyno. they're connected with all the right people to put some real power out of your motorcycle. So go check them out, horsepowerinc.net, Horsepower Inc. on Instagram. Yeah. Also, Hard Drive, American V-Twin products, man. Check these guys out. hdtwin.com. Get set up as a dealer. Go get set up and get these products in your shop so you can offer it to your customers. If you're a customer and your shop doesn't have Hard Drive, maybe you should tell them about it and be like, what the fuck, dude? What the fuck? hdtwin.com. Get set up. If you want to show them what kind of shit they sell, go to Hard Drive Parts or on Instagram and let them check it out. Show them like, dude, I want these parts. You're supposed to be having these parts from me, right? Check them out, man. Hard Drive Parts, hdtwin.com, Hard Drive Parts on Instagram. I'm actually flipping through the book as we speak because we're going to try to use a lot of products from Hard Drive to build this Softail that we picked up. And to answer y'all's questions, no, it's not my Softail. It's my buddy James. I'm trying to be a responsible person and not buy any new bikes right now. And also, I think that if I build a bike for another person, then maybe it'll stay around. I won't sell it or take it apart and sell the parts off of it or whatever. I'm a little all over the place, and James isn't. So I'm excited to build this bike, and I'm actually excited to go work with a company like Hard Drive, and try to put as many products as we can find that fit the style of bike that we want to build using their catalog. So very interested and excited about that. Like I said, again, don't forget to check out Hard Drive, hdtwin.com. Get set up, let your friends know, like I said, if you have a shop that you do work with and you like messing with these guys and they're not on board, it's not going to cost them anything to set up. There's no $7,000 buy-in. There's none of that shit. Just get set up, get the books, start making orders. That's how it goes, right? But anyway, yeah, this podcast, man, it's Adam Sandoval. Have you heard of him? Yeah, he's kind of a big deal. He's been doing a lot of rad-ass shit on Harleys for a while, man. So I'm pretty sure I talked about it at the beginning of this podcast, but I was I knew who he was, I knew what he was doing, but until I talked to Giselle, I just wasn't paying attention, you know what I mean? And then when I started paying attention and I saw the rides and I saw the routes and I saw what he was doing for, military charities across the nation, I don't know if the right word's fell in love. I fell in love with what he was doing. Let's put it like that. Obviously, I like riding bikes far. Going across country is my shit. And he did that so many times. And he's built a great following. He's built, he's done a lot for a lot of people. And I'm just glad that I got to get him on here. So without me rambling anymore, check out Adam Sandoval. Here you go, guys.
Hey, guys. You ready to let the dogs out?
Fast Life Podcast.
You done any podcasts before yet?
Yeah.
I figured I'd been around the block a while, so.
Yeah, a lot of recordings.
Yeah, for sure. So, I guess we're rolling now. So, let's see. Trying to get these audio levels right.
Okay, we'll talk a little bit while you do that. What do you think about that new iMac?
I dig it.
You dig it? Even the fact that you got no ports for anything?
I'm used to buying stuff nowadays that you pretty much have to buy more shit for. So it's like you just get used to it. It's like, it's very inconvenient, to be completely honest with you. But
it drives me nuts.
All this media stuff that we're trying to evolve into, it's like everybody pointing towards this, and then they come with, the GarageBand like what we use here, and iMovie and stuff like that. So you're kind of set up for the basics to do a lot of social media or media
absolutely
stuff. So.
Yeah, I got that same laptop, and I love the laptop. I hate the ports.
You know what I hate the most about it is the mouse. I bought that $90 mouse, and it's just it feels weird. It doesn't I'm used to a Logitech or something like that from a Mac or a Windows computer,
sure.
And it's just weird.
It is a weird mouse. Their whole clicking system's weird.
But yeah, I mean, other than that, it's not bad. I mean, I'm getting used to it, and since I have an iPhone, I figured might as well kind of go across the board with Apple stuff. So
that's what I did too. That's how they get us.
Yeah, exactly. Now next thing you're gonna have Apple cameras and stuff like that coming out soon, probably.
Oh boy.
But yeah, no, it's cool, man. Everything's good sounding, I guess.
All right.
So yeah, tell everybody your name.
Hey, Adam Sandoval. My sidekick Scooter is not in the house today. He was a little under the weather this morning. Too much whiskey last night.
Yes, y'all partied last night too. So man, like I said, we did this podcast with Giselle a couple weeks back, and I had heard of you before because you've kind of ran through Dallas a time or two, and I've seen like other people sharing what you were doing and stuff.
Sure.
But I just wasn't very in tune with it because I, obviously had my own shit going on, my own thing. But when she brought you back up, it's kind of like I knew who you were and that you existed and that you were riding a bike all over the world or all over the country, basically. But then she brought it up, and I went and actively researched and looked and started watching your videos and started, checking out all that stuff. And then, I'm like, I even texted her yesterday and was like, dude, like, this dude's got me inspired to do shit now. You know what I mean? So
man.
How, I guess what the question that I was getting, and and it might have been covered in some of your videos.
Sure.
I'm sure it was, but when you decided to do those first trips, like what was it that kind of like put you on the edge to want to even leave the house the first time to do that trip?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, this is a shameless plug. I did write a book that goes through the intimate details of all of that. It's just called Inside My Helmet, but I'll give you the 10,000 foot explanation if that works for you and your listeners. Yeah. All right, great. It was a compilation of things, man. I really...
Hold on, sorry.
You're all right.
I've had this thing backwards. I was like, why is your voice not that loud? Here. Now you talk.
Oh, right.
There we go.
You want to start over?
No, you go.
All right. So it was really just a compilation of things. I always loved to ride. I always dreamed of having a Harley from a kid. My uncle inspired me to ride. And frankly, that's a whole nother topic if you want to get into it on where I think the direction of Harley's headed. And
we'll definitely get there.
And what they should do. But my uncle inspired me to ride Harley as a kid, and I always wanted a Harley, and I finally got it. And I was living in Wisconsin when I got it. And the riding season there was, I love to ride up there for all 2 weeks of the riding season. You know what I mean? So I had a business up there, and I sold it. I moved to Florida. I said, I'm going to go into the motorcycle culture. I'm going to start doing something in the motorcycle culture. In Florida, I could ride year round. Well, in my 30s, I really started to regret never joining the military.
Yeah.
I
can attest to that. I kind of, when I came out, not to cut you off, but I came out of high school was right, like I graduated in 2001. So 2 months later, 9/11 happened. And, it was kind of like this, but I had a kid too. Yeah. So I was like teeter-totter in this thing, but I've had such close friends that are in the military, and I know it's not about that, but just their ability to travel and see the world is just an amazing experience in itself. And I was always kind of jealous of that, if you will, but For me, it was the camaraderie I was jealous of. I was jealous of the common bond these guys had. They went through something so extreme and so heavy that the type of bond that gets created in a situation like that just really put me in awe. I was in mixed martial arts cage fighting prior to the motorcycle stuff. The fighting really creates a bond as well. Yeah. I mean, you put on the gloves with a guy every day. You establish a level of respect for one another, and you have a different type of bond. And I just felt like the military bond would be even bigger. So I had this huge regret for never joining the military. I had friends coming back looking at retirement. I had friends that didn't come home. Yeah. And I just really regretted not being there. So I came up with this idea. I was married at the time. I came up with this idea that I would ride around the country and give back to the military. Because I was already in my 30s. Most of the branches didn't want me, and hell, I don't blame them. Yeah. I'm pretty beat up, right? And so I came up with that idea, and it was just pillow talk between me and my wife. And, at night I'd be like, yeah, we could do this, we could do that. And I think she kind of always just said, yeah, okay, Adam, what another dream, I'm a dreamer. Yeah. And then, I just went through divorce, bro. And I found myself throwing myself into work, making more money to spend it on more stupid partying and bad times. Yeah. And I wasn't allocating my life where I wanted it to go. And I had a moment where I said, you know what? I'm just going to do the damn thing. What else? What do I got to lose? The open road is therapy. I don't care what anybody says, or, a lot of companies don't want you to say it's therapy because it's not, whatever, but it's therapy, man. It's therapy for me. I don't care what anybody says.
So I decided to do it, man, and I put it on social media. I had a decent, maybe 10, 15,000 social media followers at that time through the fighting stuff.
Yeah.
So, my social media is pretty serious. I put it on social media. I said, listen, I made a decision that's going to change the rest of my life. And from that point, once I put it on social media, I knew I could not
back down.
I couldn't back down. I had to do it.
Signed the contract.
I signed a contract, man. So that's how I really got to the point of making the decision to do it. And up to that point, my longest road trip was about 11 hours one way that I did in one day. It was for a funeral, and that was the longest road trip I've ever had. Aside from that, 5-hour trips was my biggest trips. I didn't have a lot of over the road long distance experience.
So was it you and your wife that moved down to Florida, and then the bike thing kind of kicked off there for you, or you were already riding, right? So,
yeah, I was already riding. We moved to Florida to ride.
Yeah,
we enjoyed riding together. She rode my second bike, and that I had when we moved down there. We weren't married yet. We got married when we were in Florida, but so it was we moved to Florida to ride full time and immerse myself in the riding scene.
Yeah. Which part of Florida did you go down to?
I was at Fort Myers Beach.
That's over there by Daytona, right?
Not far. It's opposite coast. It's Gulf Coast.
Yeah.
About 4 hours from Daytona.
So it's like more like Sarasota and all that area, or further
south of Sarasota. Yeah, I'm right on top of the Everglades.
Yeah. That's a lot nicer. That's where I wanted to go when we went to Daytona. It was like south. Like I saw the part of it that wasn't all that fun.
yeah. The Everglades is an interesting culture. A lot like this culture here, It's just it's different, man.
That's a good way. I like the wink that you gave me.
yeah, it's different, man. It's I don't know. It's where I feel at home.
It is. This area here is actually pretty nice. I mean, it is. It kind of feels a little bit untouched or left behind. Yeah. In a sense, but it's definitely got the scenery and the peace, I guess. It's like, man. No, it's not a rush down here. You know what I mean?
It's not, man. What you see is what you get. And if you try to rush one of these good old boys, you're going to get nothing.
Exactly.
It's just the way it is.
So so you were fighting, right? So you were doing the fighting thing, and that evolved into, but you were still riding.
Oh yeah, riding was my hobby.
And fighting, and then that evolved into the regret of not being in the military and those type of things, and that kind of opened up this idea. What was the traveling aspect just a big part of it as well?
Well, I just knew I wanted to use my talent. My talent at the time, riding was just a hobby. I worked a job. I was in a fight business, and my talent was promotions, events, marketing, management, all these type of things. And I knew that, I had a good friend who was a recruiter, and I was trying to get in. I was literally going and talking to other recruiters. Yeah. And my friend who was a retired chief recruiter told me, he's like, Adam, he's like, you're just too old. He's like, you might find someone to let you slide in or make some exception. He's like, but it ain't going to be no good for you. He's like, you're too old. You crested. He's like, use your talents. If you really regret it, use your talents to make a difference for the men who went in their 20s. And that's when it clicked for me. And I said, you know what? Nothing goes together better than military and motorcycles.
Yeah, freedom.
So I was like, okay, this is it. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna use my ability in social media and marketing, and I'm going to use my passion for motorcycles to make a difference for one of my regrets, which was never joining the military.
Yeah, for sure. So what year was it whenever you decided to take that first step into the trip?
Yeah, it was 2014, man. It was the summer, July 4th, 2014.
Looking back on all the videos, it seems like you've been doing it forever, but 4 years.
4 years, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but it's just been 4 years every day.
Yeah.
That's where it gets in. That's really the difference for me. Like even now, now I'm not on the road full time. I could go, it's a difference to take a trip and be able to say, the weather's bad, I'm not riding today. I just got to get to this town, and then we got a day or two to enjoy that area, and then it's back to the road. Where my trip was every day, rain or shine, no matter what Mother Nature did. I think in the 2 years it took me to hit every Harley Davidson dealership in the country, I think I missed 2 days on the road.
And I saw the videos you riding in the snow.
Yeah.
Like, not just some bullshit snow, like layers of that shit.
Blizzards, yeah. In Chicago in February. That's what that was, that video you saw probably. That's the most popular one.
So, when you decided to do this trip, was it literally what was the idea behind going to the dealerships? Just to accomplish that, like a mini, like giving yourself goals within the trip? Or?
Yeah, man. Well, I started looking at what I could do. Again, the marketing side of me and the promotional side of me came out, and I started looking at what I could do that would be over the top and different. And in the process, I found out that nobody had ridden to every Harley Davidson dealership in the country in a single run in the history of the motor company. And I thought, I'm gonna be the first. I'm gonna be the first guy to do that.
It seems like a perfect plan. I mean, you get to ride. You're going to check out dealerships, and every dealership has a different kind of atmosphere, persona. Like, you go to one dealership and you've been to all of them, so it's definitely different. It's like different cultures within the culture of Harley Davidson. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it really allowed me to experience all the different dealers and cultures. And you're 100% right. The cultures are so different. Like, you get into southern Louisiana, down by like the coon asses. I mean, the way they talk down there, and then you get up into northeast, and you get out into the west, and everybody just has different priorities and dialect and food, and I mean, it's amazing how diverse our one country really is. Even you go south, I'm sure you're Dallas, you've probably been down south of San Antone. I mean, it's a different culture down there.
I saw where you dipped down all the way down towards what would you go through, like what is it, Padre Island down there?
Man. I ran that whole coast along Mexico. I mean, going through checkpoints, and I mean, our borders down there are a scary thing. I had no idea. Like, I had never been down there. I'd been to Galveston on a vacation, but I had never ridden the border, and man, I mean, seeing what's going on down there, I mean, society doesn't have a clue.
I think my biggest my first taste of it was like, we've ridden to California plenty of times, and when you're coming through El Paso, like, say, you just kind of get real close to the fence there, and you can see Juarez on the other side of the fence, and it just looks like a third world country. It
is, man, and it comes over into America. I mean, it really does. But looking over that fence that's a eye opener.
It's like you're looking. Like, I just drove it a month ago, and I was like, man, can I see one gas station sign, a McDonald's sign,
anything,
a Walmart, something? It's like nothing is there. It's just like just structures.
Big X. This is what the OB, that big X structure. And then on this side, you got all these checkpoints, and you got
one in White Sands. You got one right there in the middle of New Mexico, and then when you're going through past El Paso, you hit another one in those mountains. And on the back roads, I had to take a lot of back roads. Oh, that's right. I've never even seen those.
They set up mobile checkpoints. All of a sudden, I remember the first one I rolled up to. Man, I'm on my Harley. I got my dog in the back. I got my black helmet, my black bike, my black jacket, my black jeans, my black boots. Right, and I roll up on this checkpoint where these guys are carrying, automatic weapons, and they're full. And I had no idea what was going on. I'm like, oh my God, what's happening? And
no, I rode the Tombstone. That's right. I rode the Tombstone, and they had a mobile checkpoint right there.
Yeah, man.
You have to pass through it to get to Tombstone, and then get back to like Benson and stuff. Yeah, it's wild, man.
Yeah, it's trip, man. It's a different. It's
how's it up in the Canadian border though? They're trying to keep us out.
Yeah, exactly right. It's the exact same thing. Transcended. Yeah, it's crazy, man. A lot of different culture around there, man. No doubt.
That's one thing I love about traveling, is because, and especially with all the friends that I've built once I started traveling on a motorcycle, which, trust me, what I do on a bike is very small fries compared to what you've done and what you normally do, but it's still enough to like really give me substance in my life and make me feel like I have branched out and I have friends all over the country now. Buddy. And it makes you really want to travel more because you want to go hang out with these people.
Amen.
And that's kind of what we do, and I try to tell people that. I didn't start traveling until I was 30. Until I was 30, I went to California once. And that was just like a car thing. We took a car there and drove it back.
I was in my 30s when I started this, and frankly, I'm glad I was, because if I was in my 20s, I don't know if I would have made it.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd have got hung up in some city having a good time and started missing my appointments. I was in my 20s. I was a different cat.
So how did like you said you were married at the time, like was that a supportive thing for her at that point?
No, she just, we talked about it. Like I said, it was pillow talk, lay in bed, I'd bring it up, and she'd listen to me, but it wasn't, I don't think she ever believed I'd really do it. I don't think, when I pictured it, it was her and I were going to do it together. And it just never really happened until I was put in a situation where I was in a life-changing situation. And, you get in a situation with a divorce like that, and, things can get really ugly, and, and really any situation in life can get really ugly on you really fast. And and you got to look at it and you got to make a decision. And am I going to make the most of this, or am I going to dwell on this and let it drag me down? Whether it be divorce, financial burden, who knows what it is, health. And I just made a decision. I wasn't gonna let it drag me down. I wasn't going to go down the rabbit hole of partying and drinking my emotions away.
Yeah.
I decided I was going to try and elevate myself.
Yeah.
And
you said something at the beginning of this thing that was really good, and this is something that I've noticed happen for me and my family, wife and everything, is the idea of possessions and not, you know, like going to work and you get more money, you start buying more shit, and and you got to work towards another car and another house, and for us it's like we've every time we get one of those things, it doesn't really solve anything for us, right?
No,
it just kind of like, oh well shit, we got this now, and
it's cool
now
for a couple weeks.
You know, you get a new car and it's like, oh shit, now I'm stuck with this payment for 6 years, and I can't, you know what I mean? And now we're looking at we really want to take a van trip, you know, like I'm trying to build a chopper right now to throw in the van, and then we're going to jump in the van and take like 3 months off and
Very
just go.
cool.
But, you know, like I don't know. I have no desire to buy a house. I don't have a desire to buy a new car. I'll buy a new bike, you know, all day long. I can afford that payment.
Yeah.
$300 or $400 is easy to come up with on the fly, but, you know, $800-900 for a nice new truck for me it's just not going to happen.
It's not right. Yeah. Well, you know, I often when I talk about this type of thing and the possession thing and how I look at it, you know, I don't think anybody on their deathbed is going to look back and say, yeah, but I was rocking the iPhone 6 when everybody else had the 5.
Yeah.
I mean, you just don't, you know what I mean? It's a flash in the pan, man.
Yeah.
And these memories and what I did here is something that I'm just going to carry with me to my deathbed.
Agreed 100%. And I try to tell that to a lot of my friends when they, you know, because I get people that come up to me that want to start riding and want to start doing this, and they hear my stories just like I'm sure people hear your stories. I heard your stories and I already know what they're like, and I'm still like jazzed about it. So it's like I spent all my 20s just buying shit or trying to buy shit, you know, trying to own this thing, you know what I mean? And,
me too.
And I don't feel like I started living until I was 30, until I started traveling, until I started branching out from just what I've always had. But yeah, man, that's what I don't know. Like I will say that I do like nice bikes. Like I'll spend my money on a bike and stuff like that.
Sure. But at the end of the day, even that, you know, for someone out there that's thinking about getting into riding, you don't have to have a nice bike.
No, you don't.
You know, I know guys that have the worst trash. Look at my Warhorse, man. That thing's a pile, man. I mean, it's a 1996 Electra Glide Standard with 200,000 miles on it. And it
did its job, though.
It's beat to hell and back. It did its job. But I'd park that next to a brand new CVO, and people come look at that old pile.
Well, yeah, and this is something I've also been bringing up a lot on this podcast, is that because, you know, I was doing the big wheel bagger thing when I was 29, and so I was, you know, $50,000 motorcycle doing all this stuff. And slowly, as I've kind of shifted cultures in the different subcultures in this motorcycle scene, I've less and less cared about how nice my bike is. I still want it to appeal because that's my business.
Yeah.
But, you know, a big part of me is like, dude, I just want a nice bike to go take to the events. Mm-hmm. And then I want just a nice beater, but then I buy a beater and then I turn it into what's outside. You know what I mean?
Well, there's something to be said for that too, though, man. That stuff's beautiful, man.
You know.
But it's beautiful and functional. You know what I mean? It's beautiful and functional. That's one thing that's certain.
Yeah, like I said, to me, I found that even when I have a custom bike and I do my trips on it, it still holds those memories to me. Like I see pictures of that bike that I did all my trips on last year, and I wouldn't say I get emotional, but I get very like, it puts me back in that saddle of that bike, and I start thinking about, oh man, I see the axle and it reminds me of a specific type thing, or and you know what I mean. So
I do 100% know what you mean.
So those type of possessions to me, they're like vessels for the experiences of life. So I kind of want to decorate those things. I want to put a little bit of jazz on those, but
damn right, man.
I don't need a dually to pull it. It's got 24-inch rims and
man,
a living quarters, and I'd like to have it. I ain't gonna lie, I'm just a little hater.
Sure. It's nice to have if it was just given to you, but
exactly.
But to go work a job and miss out on work a job to the extent that you miss out on life experiences so that you can have that. I think is where a lot of us make mistakes.
And that's what that's exactly, I mean, that's a good way, that's exactly how to put it, because I can downsize my business and get to a point where I can survive and eat good, but not have this huge overhead and be married to this job every day. And I could use that extra time that, you know what I mean? Like downsize the business to where it's just enough to where I need to get by.
Yeah.
But then you have 2 weeks a month that you can go and just enjoy it.
Right.
You know, even if you're just sitting at your house at home, at least you're enjoying it with your family and stuff, you know?
Yeah.
But
that's kind of my plan here at this campground, is get it to the point where, you know, it'll sustain me. I mean, this is never going to make me millions of dollars.
Yeah.
But if it'll sustain me to where I can travel, you know, and I don't have to be on everybody else's schedule, then that's what I want. Because that's where I'm at right now, man. Right now I'm at the point where I want to be able to travel and I don't want to have to be on everybody else's schedule.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been doing for the last 4 years. I've been traveling full time and I've been getting paid to travel the country, but I'm on everybody else's time.
So when the first times you did the trip, right? So that was purely out of your deal. And as you were doing the trip and you were going from, you know, point A to point B, dealership to dealership, that started generating the buzz that's kind of evolved into what you've, you know, done, right?
Yeah, man. So it started out, I mean, I self-funded this thing, you know, and that was my plan, to self-fund it. My plan was to do it in just 1 year.
Yeah.
I was going to spend 1 year on the road and that was it. I mean, that was really my plan. And I sold everything, man. I sold my house. I sold 2 motorcycles. I sold my artwork, my dishes, my guns. I mean, I sold everything. And literally loaded up what I could, me, my little dog, and what I could on my bike, and split. And I mean, I kept a couple sentimental things, but I mean, you're talking about a couple boxes. You know what I mean? You're not talking about.
You can store that in a friend's house, or
and that's exactly
family.
what I did. Yeah, I sat in a friend's garage. But then what happened is I was on such a budget. Like, I had money, but I didn't know how expensive the trip was going to be because I had no travel experience.
Yeah.
You know, like I said earlier, I hadn't even done a week trip. You know what I mean? Here I'm leaving for a year trip. You know, so
And
you
jumped way into the deep end.
jumped right into the deep end, dude. And I'm telling you, there's times, especially in the first couple months, where I really questioned whether I had just bitten off more than I could chew. You know, I didn't know what I was doing, and here I am, and what am I doing? I'm in the middle of the state, and I don't know anybody, and nobody really knows me, and you know, it was a situation, man. I was eating sardines for lunch and, you know, dinner, and I mean, just sleeping outside under my bike. You know, I wouldn't buy hotel rooms. I think in the first 8 months, I may have bought maybe 2 or 3 hotel rooms. You know, the rest of the time, man, behind gas stations, in between buildings, down old dirt roads. I mean, this is how I slept. And then my social media started picking up. People started following it. People started thinking it was cool. People started like really digging the mission. You know, the fact that I was raising money for veterans and children of veterans, and so the veteran community started getting behind me. And then the biker travel community started getting behind me. And all of a sudden, my social media built up all this momentum. And next thing you knew, I looked down and, you know, I got hundreds of thousands of followers online. And you know, that is when companies started reaching out to me, and they said, "Hey man, we'd really like it if you'd run our windshield. Hey man, we'd really like it if you ran our boots. Hey man, we'd really like it if you ran our, you know, headlights," or whatever the product may have been. And that's when I was able to start saying, "Okay, I'll do that, but can you help me out with some money so I get some hotel rooms?" And because I was dying out there, man. I mean, I really was. I was bad. I was in a really bad way there for a while. And
how was it, like, you know, mentally, like, being alone all those times and like going through that?
Dude, I'll never forget the first Thanksgiving I spent on the road, man. I was riding the bike. I blew my rocker cover gaskets, and I was in the middle of the woods, in the middle of nowhere. I knew nobody. I had no cell phone service. It was Thanksgiving. And I pushed my bike up into the woods, man, and walked with all my stuff on it, scared to death. You know, walked for I don't know how many miles. I ended up finding a bar. I went in and had you know, Thanksgiving dinner at a bar, all by myself. But I ended up making a friend, and he ended up helping me, and we ended up fixing it in his garage because, like you said, everything was closed. The local dealership there wouldn't work on my bike because they said it was too old. I was like, "Are you kidding me, man?" I'm like, "It's a Harley Davidson. You're a Harley Davidson dealer." And they were like, "No, we can't." Woodland Harley Davidson. And they refused to work on my bike, man. And so I had to I had to fix it in this guy's garage with him. But, you know, a lot of alone time, man, a lot of head time, a lot of time to really question myself, who I am, what I'm doing, how deep I was in it. It was a mental game for a long time. Not to mention just coming off of a divorce. That was really kind of emotionally, you know, beat me up in itself.
Yeah.
So it was a tough thing, man.
See, I when I take a lot of my trips, even when I'm with other people, like I don't really listen to music or put headphones in. I get really, really deep. I feel like I work shit out. And people listen to my podcast will probably say that, you know, you work shit out and then you change shit all the time. Like, so, you know, one trip you're on this path and then you have another one, then you're on this path. And that's kind of how I am. It's kind of on the same path. It's going this way, but, you know, it's just deviations of it basically. But yeah, man, I like to be in my head. I like to think and I like to work it out, you know?
I didn't play music when I rode for probably the first year. You know, maybe in the morning when I'm loading my bike and I first get on and, you know, some dews coming off of a rooftop and it's smoky. I might put a theme song on there. But, sorry. We're in the middle of my clubhouse here, so if you guys get some background noise, I apologize. But it's about being in a live setting. So, you know, in the mornings, things like that, I would definitely do, you know, a little music, or maybe at night, you know, when the sun's setting, I might throw a song on that
definitely
gets me to jam.
Yeah.
But through the day, man, I mean, I'd spend 10 hours a day on my bike and never once turn that radio on.
So when you left and you started doing these dealerships, I mean, I imagine you started building relationships with dealerships across the country, which I kind of recognize that on a lot of your, you know, your vlogs and your videos on your YouTube channel. And some of them obviously have been a lot more of a help on your journey than others. You know, just like we just stated at the beginning, there's a lot of dealerships, different people, different mindsets.
Absolutely. Different ways of running business. That's what a lot of people I think don't realize the depth of, and I think I didn't even realize the depth of, was the power of independently owned dealers. You know, there's corporate, and corporate tries to put these rules and regulations down on these dealers. And then all these dealers are owned by individuals like you and I, and they run their business how they want. So they might see a lot of value in marketing and put a really high paid qualified marketing person in there, or they might have the parts guy and the motor clothes girl splitting the marketing load, you know what I mean? And they've got zero experience. So, you know, it really comes down to what that dealership, you know, values as an individual. And that's going to directly reflect something like what I was doing.
Yeah, and I feel like for the most part, we've been trying to be a little bit more hands-on with dealerships, especially with this new Softail line, and trying to help generate a buzz about it, because it just hasn't been selling from what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing on the scene. But what I've noticed is just a lack of most of these dealerships being in tune with what's popular in the scene. Like, you know, like, not to say that one thing is more important than the other, like a hog chapter is less important than, you know, some Dyna Bro kids, or, you know, a bagger scene or a sound competition. None of that stuff, but just an overall, like, I feel like you walk in there and people don't even know what's what in the industry, this and that. Like, they just live and die by that little Harley handbook they get that comes out once a month, the hog book or whatever, you know?
Yeah, you know, I think it's a double-edged sword. I mean, you know, much like car dealers, I mean, these guys that are running these sales floors are working 6 days a week, open to close, because if you're not there, you can't sell and you can't make a living, because they're all commission-based.
Yeah.
And I think that's a double-edged sword, because the motorcycle world revolves around culture, not a product. This isn't a car. This isn't something you need. This isn't something that, you know, oh man, my car took a shit and I got to get a new car, and, you know, I'm not going to buy a piece of junk. I'm going to go buy a new car. And so all I need is a salesman to do the transaction. Motorcycles, man, is a passion purchase.
Yeah.
And, you know, you need to be able to connect with these people. And so I think it's a double-edged sword, because they try to put these salesmen in there like car dealer salesmen. But the reality is, in my humble opinion, okay, I don't own a dealer and I don't know the numbers like maybe some people would, but in my humble opinion, if those salespeople worked less hours and spent more time riding in the community, they provide such a better experience, because the people that are in there to buy ain't buying a car. They're buying a lifestyle. They're buying a culture. They're buying a passion.
Exactly.
And they need to connect. And it's hard, man, because, you know, they want to hire all these guys who are bikers and these girls who are bikers, but then they want to turn them into salesmen instead of bikers. And you know, you can't have both. They're not going to last, because if they're true bikers, they want to get out and ride. You know what I mean?
Well,
so it's like
it's exactly the point, though. You need that. You need people in that have a passion for motorcycles, because some people are walking in there never having one and just getting a buzz. Like, man, I feel like this might be the thing for me.
Yeah.
And if you're just a car guy selling a bike, like, how are you going to sell that guy on the scene? And I mean, I don't know about you, but like, I've been around so many different subcultures in motorcycling, from this type of crowd to this type of crowd, that, you know, I can talk to somebody and be like, you know what, I know what crowd you are going to fit in right with. You know, and
for
be like,
sure. Absolutely. Good point.
It's almost like you're selling the bike based on the scene that it's going to put them in.
Absolutely. What they want. Yeah, man. I agree 100%. Yeah, it's sad. I think, you know, just, you know, 10,000 feet, I just think that dealers overwork their salespeople and keep them from being bikers.
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
And it feels like every time, like, you get a dealership, especially in Texas, like we had Cowboy Harley was doing some really amazing things for the community. Most of the people that were working the floor were riders. You know, some of these guys were even starting shows and events outside of the dealership. Like, so much going on, but I guess, you know, the numbers just weren't as good as the one that had the car guys selling bikes. But, you know, we were going from Dallas to Austin to hang out at this dealership, and, you know, like I said, it might not have been pushing as many bikes, or I'm sure they were doing good on bikes, but just, you know how corporate is. It's like, you did great this year, but if you don't do 10 times better next year, you're losing.
Yeah, exactly,
you know?
right, man. That's corporate, man, and that's a shame, especially in this world. You know, I've had a couple meetings with the CEO of Harley Davidson, Matt Levitage, and we had a sit down one time in Florida at Daytona, and you know, he said something. I think he's a great leader. I think he's got great vision for the company. I think maybe down from him, things are falling apart, and that's why we're seeing the quarter reports just failing every quarter.
Yeah.
But I think if he got the right team that executed his vision, I think that he could really turn this whole thing around for Harley. But you know, he said something to me that I agree with 100%, and really restored my faith in him as a leader, at least a visionary. He said, at some point, and I'm going to say probably in the late 90s, Harley Davidson stopped becoming about the experience, and it started becoming about the transaction. It stopped becoming about the culture and the lifestyle, and it started being about selling the bike. And I think that's where things started downward spiral. Now, of course, there's a lag time there. You know, there's a period there where, you know, it takes time for that to actually hit the marketplace and affect it. But I think that, in turn, they started focusing on the bikes more than the riders. You build riders, you'll sell bikes.
Yeah.
You know?
You can like look back at like, you know, let's just say the last 30 years, or, you know, since, let's just say in the 90s, early 90s. And this is all theory. This isn't proven or anything, but just me looking back, and obviously I was watching Ninja Turtles at that point in time. I wasn't riding bikes and doing biker shit, but, you know, when the late 90s or whatever, when Harley had waiting lists and it was hard to get bikes, and you got what you got and all this type of stuff, that kind of helped generate and create that chopper movement that happened in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Sure.
And then, of course, that kind of bubble bursted. And then, you know, people found comfort in that, a warranty, a manufacturer that has replacement parts, insurance companies back Harleys better than you know the
absolutely
the hand built bikes and stuff like that. But we argue, a lot of people that I listen to on podcasts and a lot of people that I talk to, we all kind of feel that the aftermarket has really always generated, in a sense, I don't know the right way to put it. The aftermarket is almost as important for Harley as anything else, because the aftermarket is what's always made the bikes cool, in a sense.
I agree 100%. Corporate will disagree with that.
And, you know, we just picked up a Sport Glide that we're about to do a build on.
Yeah.
And we're really excited to do it. And I reached out on social media. I had a few dealerships hit me up. Some of them were a little out of line with what they expected me to do for a deal.
Yeah.
But we ended up working with Maverick Harley out of Dallas. And
Man, great crew. Who do you work with up there?
We actually worked with Lug. I think his name is Lugnuts.
Lugnuts, okay.
He's the one that does all their social media videos and stuff.
Okay,
But he kind of bounces in and out of sales. But I told him my vision of what I wanted to do with this bike and how I wanted to document it. We're going to do a big ride next year. And realistically, I'm just trying to do my part as an aftermarket guy to make these bikes cool, because when they drop those Softails, we went through like a drought. Like, nobody was spending money on Dynas. Nobody was really doing anything on anything else, because they just like, well,
what's happening?
Are these the bikes now? Or what do we do? Do we buy a new bike, or do we dump $5,000 into this bike? Like,
right.
People had money to spend. The economy wasn't bad technically, but they were just in limbo. Like, is this the new bike or not? You know, and I've said it since day one. It's like, it's just going to take a while for the aftermarket to pick up on this bike, and there's parts to make it a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. They ride amazing, you know, and
they
so
do.
We reached out to we've talked to quite a few people on here. And it's raining again out there. We talked to Horsepower Inc. They do like throttle bodies and stuff. And it was funny because I was talking to this owner of this dealership down in Austin, and I was trying to see if we can work a deal out to do this build through their deal. And he's like, well, we just don't have a big, with our warranty stuff, we don't want to do anything that's, or have our name on anything that's going to whatever. But Harley Corporate gave 5 companies brand new Softails to build, and 3 of these companies make products that all void warranties on Harleys. So Harley gave a brand new bike to a company to build it and make it customized to have at their 115th. It's like corporate's doing it right, but somewhere in the mix, just like you said, there's somewhere in the mix it's cutting the throats of these dealerships to be able to exploit the bikes like they should be able to.
Absolutely, man.
That was a long, drawn out story, but
I agree, man. The customization culture is definitely a huge piece to keeping this alive.
I mean, nobody wanted road glides until they started putting big wheels under them.
Of course, man.
They were the ugliest bikes in the world. And now I think they look great, but before I was like, man, like that thing is hideous.
Yeah,
Like
I remember thinking that.
now
I ride one.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, man. I do have to say, out of all that, I'm really what I was most excited about was the fact that you're working with Maverick Harley Davidson, man.
Yeah.
I love that crew.
I do too,
I do stuff with them. I do stuff with them all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, like I said, the dealership thing is kind of like all we can really do is talk and speculate and hope, and just deal with the cards that we're all given, basically.
That's unfortunately the case, my friend.
So, man, after the, how you're on that first trip, that first year, and you're sleeping here, you're sleeping there, you're starting to generate a buzz. Like, when did you feel like, okay, this is what I'm going to do? Like, when did it become, you were planning the 1 year, when did it become like, okay, I can do this another year, another 2 or whatever? Yeah,
the timing on that was horrible because my thought was this. I lived in Florida. I was going to do 1 year on the road. So my thought was I will leave in the winter, stay south, get all the south done in the winter while I'm fresh and I'm got energy.
Yeah.
And then I'll finish in the spring and summer, maybe fall, when the weather's perfect and, I'll be tired and it'll work out right. So about, let's see, I left in November, did all the south, and then I guess it was probably about August, I realized that, maybe July, I realized that I could raise more money if I slowed down, if I spent more time at the dealers, if I spent an hour at the dealer, gave people time to get there, meet and greet, ride with me, I could raise more money. So I decided to slow it down, but the problem was I had already done all the south.
So you had to go back.
And now I had a whole nother year, and all I had left to do was the north. And that's how you end up with videos of me riding through the snow in Chicago in February. So it really, the extension of it was just the reality of seeing the fact that the more time I spent at these dealers and the more rides I did with these dealers, the more money I could raise.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And so what's the charity itself that you've done it for?
I've done a few charities. I've given hundreds of thousands of dollars to the American Legion Legacy Scholarship Fund. Same thing with the Wounded Warrior Project. We have not announced this. This will actually be the official announcement. We're going to break the world record for the longest parade of Harley Davidsons, and we'll be giving all the proceeds to a group that I have personally witnessed firsthand doing amazing things all across the country, and that's the CVMA, Combat Vets Motorcycle Association. So all the money we raise for this for this world record-breaking ride is going to go.
And you are
to
doing that out of Paris, Harley Davidson, right?
We're going from Paris Harley Davidson to the Choctaw Casino in Grant, Oklahoma. Yeah.
Nice. That's going to be a fun time.
Yeah. And I've helped a few other charities along the way, but those are my major ones that I've done stuff with.
Have you found, like, in your travels, have you like found areas that you were more keen to and didn't want to necessarily, you wanted to spend more time in and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, man. That was kind of the worst part about that trip. The first trip there was, just trip to every dealership was just getting to a town and people being like, oh man, you got to ride this, or oh man, you got to go see this, or oh man, you got to eat here, and showing me all these great pictures and these great roads on their phones, and me being like, yeah, but in 2 hours I got to be 3 hours away at a meet and greet, so I got to hit the next dealer. We're gonna raise a bunch of money over there, and I just had to leave it. I wasn't able to ride it. That was probably the hardest part for me.
Yeah, I think that the first couple of trips I've done, you try to like, okay, well, I'm gonna go from here to NorCal and back. I got 11 days,
right?
And then each time, the first trip it was all major highways. That was the worst thing. I did not enjoy it. And then when you start getting off the road, you start going through these little towns like Durango and all this crazy shit. You start finding like these areas that you really want to explore and you want to see, and you're like, damn, I'm literally having lunch here. I'm supposed to be in Salt Lake tonight, or I'm supposed to be in Vegas tonight, or some shit, And so that for me, that's what sucked, and that's why I guess part of me is envious of that idea of just being able to just like you and Giselle, just be able to just like, you know what, I'm just making this my full-time job for now. Yeah. Make the sacrifice, and even if you did it for just a year, like you said you were going to do, that still would you would never. I don't know if you would ever outlive that memory. No, you couldn't. You're talking about Thanksgiving, but I know that in the moment that's got to suck and blow big time, and put you in in a weird vibe. But I guarantee you now you're thinking about, you remember that bar, you remember that feeling. Oh yeah. And that's what it's about. You might look back on it now and be like, man, that was pretty badass. Mm-hmm. It sounds cool. Yeah. But I wasn't there, so I don't want to take that from you. Yeah. No, you're exactly right. You're 100% right. And that's really where I've gotten now is, I just don't want to ride on a schedule. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And that's really what I'm hoping, this campground will provide me, a solid, secure anchor to where I can do that and not rely on, appearances and things like that. Yeah, for sure. That's probably my number one asked question online is, hey man, I'm about to take a road trip. What advice do you have? Yeah. And the number one thing I tell them is don't plan, man. Do not plan, because you're going to roll into some city that you had no idea even existed, and you're going to run into some cool situation, and you're going to want to experience it. Yeah. And when you are faced with that decision, do I change my plans, which could create a nest of problems? Yeah. Or do I or do I miss this experience and go on and keep my plans? That's a horrible position to be in. Yeah, it is. And so, say I'm taking this many days and I'd like to make it this far, and go on your trip, man. And that's the best way to do it. See what you stumble into, because that's out of everything I've done traveling, that is my number one piece of advice to anybody out there. Just, man, take the number of days you're going to be out, take where you'd like to go, and then just hit the road. The first couple trips we did, we booked hotels every night. Yeah, man. Because we were like, well, if we book it now, then, we booked the Vegas hotel now, we get it for $200. If we wait till the night, it's $400. Yeah. But then we started implementing camping into our trips. Yeah, buddy. And then the camping kind of alleviated that. Like, we still wanted to get to the camp because we were trying to camp at really, like Monument Valley and the Sequoias and all that kind of crazy shit. But now it's like, I just did a podcast just before Giselle's. It was a friend of mine that did the Cali trip, and literally he exactly like you just said. He probably listened to your advice on your YouTube channel and stuff. But listening to his story, it just made me realize, like, yeah, that's the only way to do it and actually walk away like knowing that you really experienced everything there was to experience on that trip. Yeah. Or what's going to be available for you on your trip and your situations, Yeah. So yeah, that's the plan next time. It's just hey, we're going this way. We're going to try to be back on this day. Right. And just see how it goes. Hey man, and that's the way to do it. Like, I'm leaving for Sturgis. I couldn't tell you what day. Yeah. You know what I mean? I don't even know what day I'm leaving. Yeah. I don't even know how I'm getting there. I don't even know what route I'm taking. Nothing. I just know I'm going to be in Sturgis. And then I'm going to come back, That's all I know. Yeah, Giselle was telling me that you're going to, for the hot bike tour, you're going to Grand Marshal that shit?
Oh man, yeah, we haven't even released that yet. A second release on your podcast that hasn't been released yet. But yes, I am officially Grand Marshal for the Hot Bike Tour, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, I'm still debating on going or not, but we did it last year when it was through Tennessee, and it was amazing.
You got to go. It's gonna be in the West.
Four Corners.
Yeah, man.
Going through Phoenix, up into Utah, Colorado, back down.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be gorgeous. You got to go, man.
I'm gonna try. I'm trying to build an FXR right now, so kind of broke.
I heard that, man.
These FXRs, they're one of those things, man. And you want them and you love them, and they really do run great. I mean, you had an Evo.
Yeah.
They're temperamental, but they'll keep you on the road forever. It's just you just got to take care of them, man.
Yeah.
Or maintenance them, or they'll make you maintenance them. Basically,
yeah, you're gonna maintenance them one way or the other. That's for sure.
Well, that's cool, man. It's great seeing how like you evolved all this stuff and using just those basic skills, not basic, but just the skills you had with marketing and transferred it into another industry, basically, and then found a way to also make a living for yourself, but also give back, tenfold to the things that that you're into and that you stand behind. So
it's pretty gratifying, man. I'm pretty happy.
This campsite thing, man, it's a great idea too. It kind of what led you here though? Like obviously you're from Wisconsin, right?
Yeah. I was born in Wisconsin. I went to high school in Atlanta, Georgia. Well, a little town outside of Atlanta, Georgia, and California, and but I was born in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and I ended up going back to Green Bay, Wisconsin in my late 20s. I wanted a campground. I wanted to be close to this part of the country. I like the center of the United States because it gives me easy access to go anywhere. If there's a rally I want to go to in North Carolina, I don't have to cross the entire country to get there.
Yeah.
I can be there in a day.
Yeah.
If there's a rally I want to go to in South Dakota, I don't have to cross the entire country. I can get there in a day.
Yeah.
So I'm centrally located so I can do the rides and visit the places I want to visit. In my opinion, this part of the country right now, I'd say I'm in the southern westmost tip of it. But this part of the country, this 200-mile radius, I'm in the southern west tip of it, but north and east 200 miles of me is probably some of the best riding between the Smokies and the Rockies.
For sure.
If you're not in the Smokies and you're not in the Rockies and you're in between them, this is the best riding. The Arkansas, Pig Trail, Talahena Skyway, which is just, 45 minutes up the road from me on my road, this whole area, the Ozarks, this is a beautiful area to ride. Reminds me of the Smoky Mountains a lot. And so I knew I wanted to be in this area. I wanted to probably be a little bit northeast of where I am right now, but this landed me inside my circle of dream riding. And it's close enough for my girlfriend now. She works in Paris, Texas, so she can commute back and forth to work. The price was right. I almost bought a place in Mena, Arkansas, but I just couldn't get the price where I needed it to be. A lot of these guys are really proud of these campgrounds, man.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it when I started pricing them. So the deal just came together. It was the right deal I could make. A half a mile of river frontage. I mean, dude, that in itself, dude, we go down every other day and we're floating in that river, and we can only do it every other day because the second day we got to recoup because that river gets us good every time.
The concept of just and I'm not sure. I mean, you probably can answer this. Is there a lot of other motorcycle-based campgrounds across America, or is it kind of a very infant stages of those kind of things?
A lot. I would say no, but almost every part of the country has some. I mean, there's a lot in the Smoky Mountains. Yeah, that's why I didn't want to go to the Smokies, just because of competition. I mean, they're everywhere up there. There's some great ones up in Maine. There's some great ones out in Arizona. I mean, they're around. Yeah. They're around, but they're not, every city.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't even know if they're every state. But
because I don't think that we have Giddy Up down in New Braunfels and down there.
Cool area.
And that place, the place they have their camp at is what got me into camping. Like going there and partying and having that is what has put me on this path in life. You know what I mean? So, we would start going camping places, or like we go to Sturgis and camp at one of those spots and have a blast. I'm like, camping is cheap and it's easy, and what sucks is like when you go to some campsites and they're just the normal RV thing and this, that, and the other, and then you see 5 bikers pull in and they automatically, it's like, oh, we don't want any loud noises. We don't, it's just at a point where it's like, man, like we just want to let loose.
Yeah, you come here and let loose all you want, man.
And that's kind of the thing that I think is is good. Like there needs to be stuff like this, but spread out. You know, because if you have four of these in the same area, it's just like, come on, man.
Yeah.
You know. But no, I'm excited, man. I'm excited about the idea that we had about doing a thing up here, and I wanted to. Someone else reached out to me about coming up here this week, and then Giselle hit me up about it, and I was like, man, I'm so busy right now at work. I almost don't even want people to know I'm not at work right now. But I wanted to check this place out, man. Like I really wanted to see it. I wanted to ride. I've ridden this road before.
Sure.
Back from Arkansas before, but. It was like I said, it was back then whenever I was point A to point B, I had to get there. It was just like you look and you just keep going.
Yeah, man. Isn't that something?
Yeah, so it changes a little bit.
It does, man. Yeah, well, this is what we want this place to become. And I mean, I got a lot of work ahead of me, but we got 40 beautiful acres, half a mile of river frontage, shade everywhere. Right now we're getting rained down, and we got some work we want to do on the roads and things like that. Mm-hmm. But hell, man, it's
a good start though.
It'll come.
It's got a nice front, man. Like
we just built a badass stage, so that's the number one thing, man. First thing up, put a stage up. You can't have a honky tonk without a stage.
What are some plans that you have for this thing, or just?
You just want to do. We want to do a lot of biker rallies, events. I want to bring in bike shows. I mean, like I said, these grounds are so well maintained and so many big mature trees and shade, and I'd like to do some bike shows out here. And the key for me on that, I think, is. Like anything, you gotta know what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are, and you got to put the right people in the right places. Mm-hmm. And that's why I was so happy to have Giselle and for those of you that don't know, it's Girl on Two Wheels on Instagram. She really has the energy and the mindset and just really the vibe that a person needs to have to create events at a motorcycle resort like this. So to put her in that position, I think I really expect to have a lot of really cool, well executed, smooth running, fun, let loose type events. And that's really our goal here. I mean, RVs are always welcome, everybody else is welcome, but the RVs are coming into the bikers territory. Yeah. Not the bikers coming into the RVs territory. That's cool. So you bring your RV in here and have a great time, set up your pool or do whatever you want to do, but just know that, people are here to have fun, and we're going to let them have fun. Yeah, that's the way to keep it, man. And that river, man, I'm telling you, you'll see. We'll get down on that river, man, light a big bonfire down there on the beach and just crawl down in 4-foot water and just get a cup in your hand and just sit and soak and howl at the moon, Yeah, dude, I'm excited, man. And, one of the fun things is I'm kind of, not that I love Austin, but I'm sick of going down there. Yeah. It's like, there needs to be more event, and it's just like when she brought it up on our podcast, my eyes lit up from like a motorcycle campground, like in the other opposite direction from Austin. Like, this is awesome. Yeah, and it opens it up to, like we were talking about before, all these other people in other parts of the country that this location is closer to people up in Northeast. Or even, like Chicago and Indiana and Missouri. Uh-huh. Like they're willing to probably make this track to come down here to party. As opposed to going all the way to Austin for all the events that are usually had is down there, because that's some of the nicest riding we have in Texas. Absolutely. And the biggest factor for me, and this is gonna, I don't know, who cares? One of the biggest factors for me is I didn't want to deal with cities. Yeah. I didn't want to deal with the city. I didn't want to deal with the regulations and the ordinances and you better turn your music down by 10 p.m. or hell no. I mean, do we try to, but man, I got one neighbor over there, and then my next neighbor is a mile away. You know what I mean? So we do what we want, and that guy over there is cool as shit. So he don't care. This is lawless out here, man. Yeah. Ain't no police are coming down in here to mess with nobody. No, nothing, man. I mean, you just come down here, you have a good time, you do what you want to do. Nobody's going to give you a hard time for it. You have a good time, and all we do is we try to use that good time to do good in the community and mainly for our veterans. Yeah. So come down here, have a rad time, but just know that while you're having that rad time, behind the scenes, we're making it right for veterans, and we're trying to do something solid for veterans. I saw that you did what was it that you're building for the veterans, so that when the disabled ones, when they come through? That's what we're working on right now. So we've got a whole area that overlooks the river, probably the nicest piece of property and land on this whole property. We've dedicated free for veterans. So veterans can come, pitch a tent, pull in an RV, and just stay for 100% free. Don't cost them a nickel. Mm-hmm. Everybody else that comes in and pays to stay, they help support that. And there's also one cabin that we donated. It's got a bathroom in it and everything else that veterans can come in if they're coming in with their family or whatever, they can stay in. And then right now we're trying to build a second cabin that's going to be 100% free for veterans that's all set up for disabled. You know, Hoyers over the bed, roll-in showers for fully disabled veterans.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's kind of the thing, man, is I'm okay with having a good time. Let's just do something positive with it.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing down here.
Yeah, that's what like I said, I've been watching the videos, man, and getting all the. It's weird how the video stuff works. It's like you start watching them and you're like, man, I know this guy, and then you get here, it's like, hi, I'm so and so, and it's like, then you're bringing up all these things, like all these videos I've watched, and it's like, fuck, man, it's cool. We've been
real life, dude. That's why social media is so hot, man. And vlogging and videos are so hot. It's like reality TV on steroids. It's real. It's not scripted. You know, it's like, this is the moment. This is what's happening.
Well, that's, I was going to bring this up. I didn't know I was going to talk about it on here, but I was going to ask you, because we, at our shop, we were thinking about going the vlog route too on our, for YouTube and things like that.
Sure.
Just because we have so much going on between the actual industry work and paint and building bikes and doing that, and then of course our hobby, which is riding them, and then all that stuff. So we thought about doing something like that, and I was kind of, man, like, I saw what you did with this campground and how it really intertwines with what you do and what you support and what you have. So I was like, man, like, I have a good name with painting, and so I make well money doing what I do. So, but I don't have to do a lot of it to pay all the bills. You know what I mean? So the idea for me is to kind of downsize it, I guess, right now. And of course, my listeners are like, here we go again, Jace. Here's another business idea. But like a badass man cave that's just got like a studio set up for like all the podcasting and maybe videoing. But then the bottom side, you have like a workbench to do, to build the bikes. And,
hell yeah.
And then maybe a little storefront to sell a few products to keep things open. But turn it into something that's all media based. So where, every time we do paint a bike or a helmet, it's all videoed and it's how to online.
That's cool, buddy.
Or somebody sends us a new exhaust and we install it on a bike and we video it and test it out. You know what I mean?
That's the answer, man. And if you got the staff to do it, I mean, that's the hard part, because consistency is everything. And, finding someone that is as passionate about capturing what you're doing and helping you get it to because it's hard to do it and capture it. That's where I struggle. I can do it, but then to capture it and edit it and put it out, that's a whole nother job set. You look at these guys that are doing these reality television shows. I mean, they're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on crews to put that stuff out. And here we're doing it on YouTube with our camera and our laptop, and maybe one or two people helping us. And it's
well, that I guess you're familiar with like John Shope and all that stuff that they're doing. Yeah, I figured you would be. So, and I think it's cool that Discovery's getting back into wanting motorcycle TV shows, because I feel like anything with a bike on TV is good PR for motorcycle community. But I heard an argument, I think it was on another friend's podcast, a Speed Metal Built or something, and I think it's not an argument, just conversation. It really, I took from it is like, I feel like the guys like you on YouTube and other moto vloggers and just other people putting motorcycle content, that shit's good. Like, that's more, I'm okay with that. Like, I would love to see more of you in that matter instead of like this made up stuff sometimes.
Man.
That comes with the production companies and the TVs, but there's still a lot of people in the world that haven't got onto the YouTube kick. They haven't gone onto down that path. They're still waiting for what's coming on next on TV. You know? And I think that our culture's changing in a sense to where TV is kind of like almost like print media to where it's on and the way out. And
for sure, no questions.
People like you and even ourselves with this podcast and things like that have the ability to write, produce, edit how we see fit, and not put in shit to please somebody that's not interested in this. They just want it for the drama,
right? And they want to change it. I mean, I had a TV show offer and I turned it down.
That's crazy.
I did. I had a legit TV show offer and I turned it down because exactly what you just said, man. It's some suit in an office telling me, oh man, you can't wear that, or oh man, you can't do this, or you got to say that, or hey, do this over here. It'll be, no, bro, this is like the reason I grew to what I grew. The reason I've got over 500,000 people following me every day online is because I'm real.
Yeah.
Like when you watch my show and then you roll into my campground, What you see is
Same
real.
guy,
You're going to see my busted old fountain out there that's leaking out of the corner that I spent 3 days building. You know, you're going to go down there and meet my goats, Johnny Ringo and Doc Holliday. You know, it's you come in, Giselle's here answering phones, running around crazy, making sure everybody's happy. I mean, this is it's real. And a TV, they take the power out of the people, and they it's all made up in some desk in some office, and then made to look like that on TV.
Yeah.
And we live in an era where we can script our own stuff, we can write our own stuff, we can build our own stuff, and if people like it, they can watch it. And nobody else can tell me what I can or can't do. And that is, you know, and that's why, you know, I only work with select sponsors. I mean, I turn down more sponsors than I have.
And that's what you want. I mean, you don't want to whore yourself out to where you're just like, you know, taking anything. I mean, you want to, like I've always thought, like, I'll try anything, and if I like it, I'll run it. You know, and if I don't, man, like, I'm not gonna blast them, but I'm like, hey, man, this isn't for me. It doesn't fit my style. It doesn't fit my liking. You know, but you know, with this new era, and I think me and Giselle kind of talked about this, is that you get a lot of people that want to be these influencers now and they're kind of chasing that, like they want to be an influencer, but they don't even know who they are yet.
Yeah, I mean,
to influence me.
That's right.
It's like they see someone else getting free shit, so they just think that it's all about just having a big media. Yeah. And it's, you know, you have to be the person behind the media as well.
Otherwise, you ain't getting it.
I mean, yeah, like, so it's a very interesting time right now with the way things are completely changing from
100%.
From the way we get our media to the fact that now we all have 15 seconds of fame in a sense. Yeah. Or more. Yeah. And you know, like we don't have to go to Hollywood now to be on TV. We can stay at our house and just turn our phone on.
You're 100% right. You know, man. It is the reality. It's the future. It's the way it's going. You know, I think the internet is going to do to television what Redbox did to Blockbuster. You know, I mean, it's inevitable. You know,
for sure.
And why? I mean, you don't have to sit through these commercials, you know what I mean? 3 seconds, you can skip a commercial and go on to what you're here to watch. You can watch it when you want to watch it. Well, I think you don't have to record it. I mean, it's just always accessible. It's the future.
You know, like when I was watching your videos and some of the longer ones that would have a commercial in it that's for the monetization of it, it didn't bother me because like I don't feel like, oh, this dude's making millions of dollars over there, and you know this commercial's pissing me off. No, I'm like, okay, this commercial's helping fund what I'm watching right now.
Absolutely, you're gonna get another video out of it.
So I'm like, okay, cool, man. Like this cool. I'll just, you know, I'll play this game with this. I might not be interested in that Chrysler that they just tried to sell me, but you know, at the same time, it's like I appreciate it more because I know that monetization is going to you and not over here and then falling down a ladder to you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so I think that like with a lot of people themselves trying to get on YouTube and trying to create content themselves, I think that a lot of people might have a little bit of different view on commercials and stuff at that point. I mean, not everybody really wants it, but you know.
But the difference is you get 3 seconds versus 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Big difference in today's day.
What if like, you know, like what's the thing that like regulates media on TV and stuff? So it was FCC or some shit or
something like that. Yeah.
What if, I guess in a very bad nightmare, like they found a way to come into our media platforms and edit things like that?
I don't think they can, man, because right back to what we said in the beginning. I mean, it's I own it. I'm uploading it. It's mine. It's living on the internet. It
falls into like a freedom of speech type situation.
Yeah, man, they can't. Right? There's no way, you know, where with television you have to have a broadcast company. And somebody owns that broadcast company. So they come in and make a deal with that broadcast company, and there you go, you're pigeonholed.
Yeah.
But on the internet, there is no broadcast company. I'm the broadcast company with my Wi-Fi right here at home. You know, essentially I got a TV broadcast company right here because I got Wi-Fi. You know?
And like back to what I was saying about like having more motorcycle related things. I mean, with motorcycle travel becoming such a popular thing, and you know, you see things like I think I watched what was it, the Long Way Round and Long Way Down. One of my two of my favorite things. But people are doing that shit all the time now on YouTube, and I've watched tons of them. Some of them kind of poor quality, some of them very well edited and whatnot. But like I said, there's plenty of motorcycle stuff out there. Sometimes it gets hard to sift through it and find it all. It's almost like you need to be consistent. Yeah, it's like you almost need a channel within the channels to find, like, to narrow them down because there's so many.
I agree. I wanted to do that. I wanted to make my channel I wanted to get, other people that wanted to produce content that I thought was solid.
Yeah.
And have multiple shows on my channel.
Yeah.
You have a show that you put out twice a week on my channel. Giselle has a show she puts out twice a week on my channel. I put out a show twice a week, and have all these different shows on my channel. Yeah. But it just becomes it's you got to have some serious money because everybody wants to get paid, and there's only so much money in it, and it's tough.
It's almost like if there's a way for like a YouTube to have a subculture channel that like maybe a rating system or something like that once you got to that, it can be in this kind of box or niche, so that you're not saying that there's not good content out there other place, but just
you got to sift through it. You got to watch 5 bad things just to get one good one. It's like you watch the video on how to change your tire, and you got to listen to the guy talk for 10 minutes about
his political views.
Yeah, and it's like, dude, I just wanted to see how to get this bolt out of here. Yeah.
So there's a lot of things for it, man. I think that there's growth in it. What do you think about like this new Instagram TV stuff? Have you looked into any of that shit?
I'm not educated enough on it to talk.
I don't know anything.
I don't know anything about it either, man. It just popped up, and I haven't heard nothing about it.
Yeah, I was wondering if there's like any type of monetization that's coming from that, or if it's going to be linked to YouTube or.
I don't know, man. I don't know what the story is. Well, it shouldn't be linked to YouTube because YouTube and Instagram are competitors. Oh, okay. Because Instagram's owned by Facebook. Right. So Instagram and Facebook are good. So they don't want you to use YouTube. Like, on Facebook, I've got, 410,000 followers. Mm-hmm. My reach since I started doing YouTube, they've cut me in half. Because they know I'm putting stuff to YouTube, and they don't want me to. Not my followers are still there; they're just not seeing my posts.
Yeah.
Because they don't want me posting to YouTube.
That's kind of why I stopped pushing my Facebook page because
me too.
I didn't want to have to pay for the people who already chose to watch my stuff for them to see it.
Yeah.
Like if I post something, I want those 5,000 people that made the decision to like my page that they should already get that when they want it.
At least a large portion of them, right? I I understand they can't do everything. Because there's so much out there. But, once they started cutting back, okay, so I would have like a year ago on 400,000 followers on Facebook, I would have if I put out a video, it would reach probably 100,000 of my 400, and I'd get viewed by probably 60,000 on average, which is more than, a lot of major television networks do, and then now they've cut it down where out of 400,000, maybe 50,000 see it. And I might get 25,000 to actually watch it. And it's like, man, they just keep cutting me back. And I believe it's because I'm pushing to YouTube. Everything I'm reading on is the algorithm. They see that I'm using YouTube, and they start cutting me back because...
Is there any monetization through Facebook, though?
They're working on it. It's not there yet. They're working on it. But now they did this big push where they're only going to start showing... high volume numbers to personal pages. So if you're an influencer or you're a celebrity or you're a business or anything like that, they keep chopping your numbers down, and that's their strategy, man. It's really pushed me away. That's why I started using YouTube more and stuff. Is once I saw that movement, I'm like, okay, I gotta move here, man. Facebook is I think, in my opinion, making some bad choices.
Yeah, I'm literally only on Facebook still for grandparents and family, the older people. But I love the Instagram platform. I didn't make mine a business page because I didn't want to deal with the same things I dealt with my business page on Facebook. Mm-hmm. So I just keep it as like a regular page. But I love, like, I would say 90% of my business is all conducted through Instagram.
Amen.
Yeah. And my reach from people, like all the people I've met, all the opportunities that's come my way, has all come through Instagram. Mm-hmm. So I really enjoy it, and I would love to. I wish it was. I don't necessarily want there to be. I don't know. I don't probably have the best way of saying it, but I don't necessarily want like a paycheck from Instagram. Like not like a monetization of it, because I'm just giving people pictures and shit.
Right.
But if they do implement that TV thing, they're and they want to compete with YouTube, then people put YouTube stuff up because they can make a living off of it.
Yeah. That's what I did late in the game. I was really late on YouTube. I've done YouTube for, well, hell, in next month it'll be maybe a year, or the month after that. It'll be a year.
So you were
Under a
doing
year.
All your videos from when you first started, they were all going to Facebook.
All of Facebook.
Nice.
I looked at it when I decided to go to YouTube. I looked at it last year. I added up all my views on Facebook, and then I put that in and saw what it would do for me if I was on YouTube. And I was like, I could have like doubled my income last year if I would have put all these videos on YouTube instead of Facebook.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I'm gonna start doing YouTube.
Yeah.
Because hell, I mean, if I ain't got money to travel, I can't make videos.
Well, see, it's also cool because like on your YouTube page, you have the category, so
Yeah.
you can see like I could be speaking out of turn here, but it's kind of like you had the Kickstands Up series,
Yeah.
and then you had some
which is
of
like
the,
a high produced.
yeah, and then you had the vlog setup,
Yeah.
and then some of the older writing stuff,
Yeah,
and
and
things
like
that.
reviews.
Yeah.
So if you're just looking for a review, you can go to my review my review section, playlist they call them.
Yeah.
Playlist. Yeah. So everything's the Kickstands Up's all really high produced, well.
Yeah.
I mean TV
I
quality.
I watched the Lita's one, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
I've only seen a few of them, but most of them that I saw were all in California. I guess you were on that part of the run.
Yeah, that's just where I got the funding for it.
Oh, okay,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Because those were expensive to produce.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I had to bring in full crews, and it was a real. I mean, it was television quality.
Yeah.
Where most of the other stuff is just me and my camera, and maybe one or two other people helping me out if
Yeah.
I'm even got that.
I think the vlog thing's good though, but like I said, I'm new to even understanding it. Like I think yours is the first one I've actually started watching some of, and now that you've like the last two you just recently posted about some of the stuff on the campsite, I've been following along with that. But it's interesting to me. It's interesting to me because you have a lot going on, and that's what's kind of pushed me to think that maybe we might try it too for us at our shop because of what we have going on. You know what I mean?
No, I think it'd work great for what you have going on, no doubt.
So, but yeah, that's all fucking awesome, man.
It's just workload, and that's what it comes down to.
Well,
that's what stumbles me.
Like I said, like I love painting. I really do. It's what got me everything in my life. But when you have 40 projects and 40 deadlines, it takes the fun and the enjoyment out of it. So if you can kind of find a way to supplement the loss of income for cutting that to 10% of what you're doing,
Sure.
and find a way to even it out to where you're not overwhelmed. What's really becoming hard about paint isn't the actual process of painting; it's the process of being creative, 100%.
Man, same thing with videos.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
you every time, like right now our big thing is helmets. So when you have 10 helmets, how do I make these 10 helmets different? But realistically, they all came because they like this one.
Right.
So they all got to be a spin off of this one that they particularly wish they could have just bought, like it was in a store.
Right. But they don't want to have it. They want something like it.
It has to be like it. So you have to create
Yeah.
10 different like paint jobs
Yeah.
based off one style or one thing. And it becomes, it's a challenge. And sometimes for me, like what I do, like I realized that I've been in a slump with my artwork. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to come here this weekend. I'm going to party with my friends. I'm going to forget about it. And I'm going to come back to work on Monday with some fresh eyes.
Amen,
and hopefully
brother. Amen.
I'll be able to, like leave that old shit before I party back there.
Yep.
Or maybe I like to drink too much. And
No. I think you had it right the first time.
Yeah,
you had it
yeah.
right the first time.
But yeah, it's like clearing your head, man. Like you need that separation, or just getting out of the shop or getting out of that work stuff so that you can, like I said, come back with fresh eyes. And like I said, I want to start doing the video thing, and I'm very hungry with it right now. So I have millions of ideas popping,
Sure.
But I can only imagine after, X amount of months or years doing it, it's going to be the same thing. Like, I just need to get away from this.
What
for
am
a
I going to
while.
do today?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
crazy.
that's the thing. I don't understand how painters do it. I don't understand how y'all do it. That to me is so magical. You know what I mean? It's like smoke and mirrors. Like I can't see how. I tried painting a couple things. I painted that warhorse, man, and it was horrible.
Well,
man.
I think like everything, I don't really understand what the expression "smoke and mirrors" means, but maybe what I'm gonna explain is that. But basically, it just looks complicated on the outside looking in.
That's exactly what I mean.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
so
It's like there's things going on. There's a process, but for me, I can't tell.
Yeah, it's like-
I don't know what's happening where.
If I gave you all of it at once, it's overwhelming, and there's no way you can narrow it down and understand it. But if you come into like just about anything, even like right now, video editing to me looks fucking daunting. You
Sure.
know,
Okay.
Where I'm
good,
like,
good analogy, man.
where I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
like I got 45 clips. They're this long. How do I find with this? Where's it go? Like
Yeah.
Like, how do you like not have the anxiety going through this and your fingers become, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Well, most people look at paint that way. Like, how do you know where this and that and this and that? And it's just finding a way to narrow it down to where you're looking at one. It's like when people say, I don't know how to draw. I can't draw a stick figure. Well,
Sure.
Drawing is not a talent. It's a skill. It's a hand-eye coordination. So
Sure.
when you're looking at a full picture saying, I can't draw that. Well, when you narrow it down and look at each line and you figure out that each line creates an image, then, it becomes a little bit more palatable.
Sure.
You
That's
know?
crazy. Yeah. No, it makes sense, man. I still can't draw a stick figure, though.
Well, you're doing good with what you're doing. So,
Yeah, man.
So the campground, when's the name change going to take place?
I'm just struggling with it, man. I just don't have the answer yet. So we'll do a grand opening party. It's going to have to happen before September 15th for the Break the Record ride. But Bring It Home, we're calling it Bring It Home.
Yeah.
Because that record's held overseas right now. And world's largest parade of Harley Davidson should happen here in America. But I'm struggling with it, man. I got, I don't know.
Is it branding issues or is it just more just the time thing?
It's just, branding issues. Like, I want to bring it back to Scootin' America just because I've got so much branding out there already for Scootin' America. It just makes sense.
Yeah.
And so,
Well, attaching your name to this campground, and you have such a fan base that business-wise, it makes sense to put your name or something that you've already built as the name of it. That way, it'll kind of
it does
draw attention to it. So.
But, that creates a lot more work, too, for the campground because the campground's already got a name that's already on Google. It's already got a website. It's already got, which I can feed it all in. I just want it to feel right, and I just, so we're looking at Scootin' America River Resort. We're looking at Scootin' America Resort and RV. I was thinking about just Scootin' America, at K River. Could do that and keep the K River part. Because the K River is growing on me. I didn't like it at first, but it's growing on me.
Yeah.
I just don't know, man. It's going to happen soon. That's all I can say.
It's just there's too much other shit to do. You got Sturgis, you got the parade.
Yeah, I'm going to just...
hot bike tour.
Yeah, man.
And yeah, I can understand that. Just putting it you have it, though. That's all that matters.
I got the land, man. So, the land is the most important thing, I think.
That's cool, man. So what else? Any other things? Any big plans coming up? Anything that you got?
Man, we touched on the biggest stuff.
That's good though.
Yeah. Thinking about getting another motorcycle.
What are you thinking about?
Well, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Well, you're riding. What are you riding right now? You got a new.
I got a 17 Road Glide, but I got the 114 Stage 4 CNC head kit in it.
I was really thinking about going. When we went to the dealership to get my buddy that Sport Glide. Mm-hmm. I just had a Road Glide. I had a 17, and I kind of did a mild customization to it, and I didn't want to be married to the bike for 6 years and have 100,000 miles on it and not be able to sell it, and I still owe $15,000 on it or something. So I was like, I'm just gonna put it up for sale. I didn't think anybody would buy it. Someone bought it. And I kind of miss it already, but so I was looking at getting that new 114 in like a fat bob, and I don't know. I haven't ridden one of those yet, but not the 114. So it's got some power in it.
Yeah, well, mine's a little different than the 114 that will come in that because mine was originally a 107. So there's some slight differences in the bottom end, if I understand correctly. But the biggest difference is the heads. Mm-hmm. So I got the CNC heads, the Screaming Eagle heads, where the standard 114 doesn't. Mm-hmm. So my 114 outruns the CVO 117. Mm. So I did a few pulls with one the other day.
Nice.
And I would walk right away from it.
So what are you thinking about getting now?
I don't know, man. I just don't know. I just got the bug, man. I gotta get something else. So we'll see what happens. I've been test riding things. I just test rode the Africa Twin. By Honda. That thing's sick. Are you getting into?
Because everybody knows that I'm big into like adventure bikes.
I'm excited about them, man. I want to get one.
I want a BMW, the big one. Yeah. I don't think I'm big enough of a guy, lengthwise to handle one. But man, they look so sweet. They're so gritty and
man. I'm into it too, dude. I dig it. And I'm not under contract with Harley anymore, so I can do whatever I want to do. I can ride anything I want now. So it's like my chains have been cut, which I'm pretty happy about.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I'm excited to get into some other things, man.
Yeah. I'm really. I think the only thing that's held me back from doing the adventure bike is not on a personal level. All I want is that, like, if I'm gonna buy another bike, that's what I want. But on a business standpoint of like, if I buy another bike, what I do for a living doesn't quite cross over into the adventure bike market
yet.
So like I'm saying, what I want to do is start building this media content to where then yes, and you know, we kind of bounce back and forth. But for the right now, I'm still relying on chemicals and things like that to make colors and stuff. So
yeah, it's so cool, man. I love painting. I mean, I don't like painting myself. I like watching paint. I like seeing paint jobs.
So I know this is kind of going back, but I think on one of your videos, you said you used to kind of customize and work on bikes yourself back in the day. And
oh man, well. Yeah, I would say that to some people. I probably wouldn't say that to you.
No.
You know, I enjoyed dabbling in it.
Yeah.
You know, I bought a powder coating machine, man, and
nice.
I had a little shop, you know, and I went crazy with that. I was powder coat. If it was metal, I was powder. I mean, I was taking my silverware back to the shop and powder coating it. You know what I mean?
That'd be badass. Have some gloss black silverware.
Yes, I had it. Yeah, man. If I could powder coat it, I did. You know, but. I just was no good at it, man. I tried it.
It's a love-hate thing, man. Like when you work on bikes for a living, a lot of people kind of get to a point where they don't want to be around them all day. Like it's hard for very longevity bike shops to have that same passion for riding as they did when they first started their shop. And you know, when I first started getting this, I was a lot more mouthy, and I was like, "You guys should be fucking, you know, you guys should be riding the hardcore. You know, why would I want to take my bike to somebody that doesn't want to ride bikes? You know, but
right.
I get it, man. The people can beat you down over time, you know, and customers and situations.
Oh, yeah, man.
You know, so.
I built a couple bikes for some veterans that we gave away for free. That was really cool, and I had fun. But I really like the vision of the finished product, and I'm not so good at the details to get there.
Yeah, yeah.
So it just wasn't, you know, I got the couple bikes done that I did, but I don't think I would ever build another bike. I have it built by somebody. I team up with a guy like you and do it, you know.
Yeah,
I'll take care of the media, you take care of the build, you know.
Yeah, I think the hardest part is for me, like, I thought about that too, like, because me and some painters are starting to get to a point where we want to do like some helmet swaps where we'll paint helmets for each other just to have different people's stuff and whatnot. But it gets hard to let go of control, I think, for me, is like control of things. And so, like, even for hiring people to come and work for me, it becomes a control thing. Like, especially if there's anything to do with design or creativity, it's like, you know, letting go of that. You got to really respect them.
You got to find the right people, man.
Yeah, that's what it goes back to, the right people. I guess it's the same thing for video content and the media side.
Absolutely, man.
You know,
it's hard. It's hard because it's an art.
Yeah, it is.
You know what I mean? And to take an artist's art and have somebody else create it, it's just not the same.
That's what sucks. You said it earlier. That also is kind of the thing. Is like I'm a thinker a lot. So I think about shots. I think about, like, when we're riding a Sturgis, I'm thinking like, man, like, if there was a bike right there shooting the bike right now, that would look sick.
Hell
with
yeah.
That backdrop and this.
Yeah, that's what it's about.
And then I'm the one with the camera.
Exactly right.
And I'm like, fuck, man. Like, you know, finding someone that has that kind of passion that, you know, it's almost like I would rather. That's why I think that's why I used to customize all my friends' bikes. So that when we go on these trips, I could take pictures of them and have cool pictures of my work.
Amen, man. That makes sense.
But yeah, it is kind of weird because, like, you know, one picture of you riding on the coast can speak to thousands and thousands of people if it's the right picture, the right way, and just, you know what I mean?
Truth.
And so when we would take our trips, I would take, you know, pictures of stuff, and, you know, I use them all the time to, like, promote our rides and things like that. And that's kind of where I think that's the thing. Now, video would obviously be more connecting to people, but you know, sometimes a good picture you can say a lot of shit.
They both have quality.
Yeah. Well, cool, man. I don't want to take up too much more of your time. I know we got some partying to do here.
Yeah, man. I think the whiskey's flowing. I know. Is the rain stop? Is it still raining out there?
It's paused for a minute.
Man.
For a minute.
I think we're gonna be dry the rest of the day though.
We've been getting doused with rain.
I mean, you did say that when I got here.
Jace, help me out.
We've been getting hit with rain. Let me get a look at the radar here. Hang on. This is one of my biggest struggles, is getting good internet out here, man.
Dude, it's crazy. I'm out here and I got more bars on your campground than I do in my shop.
I love this.
It's like me and my brother, when we go to lunch, we literally try to go to lunch at places that we know we have service for our phones.
That's everything, man, right?
You know?
Man, I got 3 different internets coming through here for internet service, so it's like I just jumped on one there. We should be good. Because I know how important internet is for everybody. Oh, yeah, it's done. We're done.
Yeah,
we're dry. We're in the clear. Unless something new develops.
We'll see how it goes.
All right.
Well, shit, man. Thank you for this. Thank you for getting this campground.
Hey,
going,
man,
I'm
thanks
excited.
for coming out, and I'm excited for your event out here, man. I'm really excited. I know, Girl on Two Wheels. She's even more jazzed than me.
You know what? As far as that's concerned, like a lot of this trip was just literally, I just wanted to see the campground. I wanted to be able to actively and accurately promote this area.
Yeah, man.
You know, when we start pushing it, I wanted to put the buzz out with just a regular ass picture, but. You know, seeing the campground, you know, knowing you, and then obviously already knowing her, it's like, I'm excited, man. I just want people to get the same enjoyment of being around other bikes, camping out, letting loose, and having a good time.
Amen, brother.
And that's, to me, the simplest thing. That's all it needs. It's all it really takes to have a great time on a motorcycle, as long as, you know,
I heard
you're just
that. Well, we can do it however you want to do it here, man. If
Cool,
you want,
man.
we can close the front gates, make it private invitation only, and it could
I'd
go.
hate to do that.
It could go close optional. I don't give a shit. Just no point in laughing, man. Just no
yeah,
point
for
in
sure.
laughing.
Well, it should be still warm outside, so. Well, all right, man. Thanks,
All right,
guys.
brother.
Appreciate it.
Rock and roll.
How'd you guys like that? Man, Adam's a rad dude, man. I was real thankful that he sat down with me and gave me the time of day, I guess is the word. But no, it sucks because like when we started doing this podcast, man, I had so many questions and I really got to get better as an interviewer. But this dude's done so much. It was so hard to figure out where to start and how to, you know, just go with it. But, you know, I'm happy with what he said. I'm happy with who this guy is. And I'm happy that we're moving forward with, you know, doing future things with him and his campsite and hopefully future things with him on media things. So at any rate, thank you, Adam, Giselle, all you guys at the K River Campground. You guys rock, and I can't wait to see you guys back in September. Want to thank the sponsors as well, Texas Performance MC. Check those guys out on the website, which is texasperformancemc.com, and on IG at Texas Performance MC as well. Also, Paint Huffer Metal Flake on IG, painthuffer.com. Check them out. Get you some flake, get you some swag, get you some tape if you're into doing custom paint, or if you just want to support a badass business and get some t-shirts and hats, go check them out. Painthuffer.com. You can order everything right there. Also, Horsepower Inc. And, you know, those guys up in Indy doing big power shit. HorsepowerInc.net, Horsepower Inc. on Instagram, and Horsepower Inc. Indy on Facebook. Obviously, the guys making big bore throttle bodies for fuel-injected bikes since day one. Check them out. And like I said, if you're up there in the Indianapolis area, you can always stop through and get your bike tuned and maybe start working on that dream motor package. Also, Hard Drive V-Twin products, man. Check them out. They're awesome. HDTwin.com, Hard Drive parts on Instagram. Check out all the shit they got, man. Like I said before, you know, if you're a local guy that you buy parts from or get work done by doesn't have a hard drive catalog, man, just tell them to get set up, man. It's free for businesses. Check them out. Start pushing those products, man. Help this company grow this part of their business. And like I said, man, we're looking forward to working with Hard Drive 2 on future projects. So I want to thank all you guys for continuing to check out our podcast. I want to thank you guys for just all that shit. Also, if you care to, man, continue to support us on Patreon. You can go to our website, fastlifegarage.com, do the Patreon thing right there on the front page. You can also, if you listened all the way to this point, I'm sure you listened to what me and Adam were talking about. And so, yes, we are looking forward, and I think over the last 6 months of really trying to narrow down what it is we wanted to do on YouTube and how we wanted to do it. And of course, I hadn't really ever watched any kind of vlogs and followed anybody, but now that I have, I could kind of see where our brand could possibly fit into that area, kind of fill a void that, you know, not a void, but just kind of bring more to the table, you know. So I've been actively looking into this for a couple of weeks now, but so we're going to be launching a lot of stuff on YouTube. So hopefully you guys are subscribed and ready for that content when it comes out. If not, once again, fastlifegarage.com, you can get a link to that, you know. And, you know, realistically, we're trying to find a way to supplement some of the income from doing this media so that we don't have to do as many paint jobs, so that we can put more shit into this media, you know, more conversations, more of everything that we want to do. Or it could all backfire and I'll be painting 100 bikes next year. We'll have to see how things unfold. But at any rate, I really do appreciate it. I hope you guys do consider or block out the time for this camp out, right? So it's going to be September 7th through the 9th. It's a Friday through a Sunday. It's going to be in Moyers, Oklahoma. It's some great riding. You heard Adam say it. Great riding out there. And I feel like that's a central place for all us Midwesterns. I mean, I know it's only 3 hours for us here in Dallas to get there. I've already confirmed Mark from Texas Performance is going to come up. I hope we get some more of the Houston boys, some of them pterodactyl boys down there, some of the guys from San Antonio and Austin area. I hope Texas shows up and shows out. But I also hope, I've noticed that there's an Oklahoma City OKC Dyna crew now. So it'd be cool if some of those guys came out and to the homie that came out from Fort Myers or not Fort Myers, Fort Smith, I think. Yeah, dude. Thanks for coming, homie. It was great meeting you. But yeah, if you're anywhere, man, just come hang out, meet some new people. We're gonna be drinking and have a good time, and next thing you know, I'm gonna be coming to your town hanging out. So come through. Anyway, I'm gonna shut the fuck up now. You guys have a great week. We have a lot of things coming up. I gotta go to California again, like any day now. So we're going to be talking to some more West Coasters and maybe the third time's the charm. We're going to get Paint Huffer on here, right? But anyway, thanks. Continue to support us any way you can. Share this, Patreon, subscribe, whatever it is you can do. It's all appreciated. It's all needed, and it's all going to help keep this going and hopefully get it better, right? Because I've been stumbling my words on these intros and outros. I need to work on it. So anyway, you guys have a great week. Thank you again. Party on, Garth. Here we go.